Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another rendition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. We are finally beginning the final two games with the Dodgers, and this gauntlet is almost over. The Cubs make a trade for a left-handed reliever. Baseball Reference gives the Cubs the best chance to win the World Series, and we'll talk a little bit more about Cade Horton in the video as well. But, ladies and gentlemen, before we get into all of those topics, I just want to thank you guys for liking the videos, subscribing to the channel, and, of course, commenting down below. All your comments are fantastic. I love hearing your guys' opinion. It is what really drives this channel, and then what makes this Cubs community so special. So, continue to like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your thoughts on the trade for Drew Pomeranz. Does it move the needle for you? Is it something big? Me personally, I'm not 100% sure yet. I think it's kind of a wait and see kind of deal. But let's type right into this. Cubs have Shota on the bump tonight at home against the Dodgers, and they will be facing Dustin May. Dustin May used to be a top prospect for the Dodgers back in 2020. I would know. I have a bunch of his rookie cards in a box over here. And these past few years, he's really struggled. He's off to a really good start this year with a ERA just a little bit over 1. And obviously, the Dodgers as a team are fantastic. So obviously, he gets a lot of support from the offensive side of the ball. But the Cubs have their stud going tonight, Shota Imanaga, who did, against the Dodgers in Japan, I wouldn't say struggled, but it wasn't a cakewalk either, if you know what I mean. He didn't give up a run, but he was forced to throw a lot of pitches, which I think has to be the strategy tonight for the Cubs as well. I've said that's the strategy for every game. You've got to make that other opposing pitcher throw a lot of pitches. So, the Cubs finishing off their set with the Dodgers. Technically speaking, this is the last two games of the two games that happened in Japan because they were two home games for the Cubs. And so, it's going to be a 4-game set. The Cubs, if they win these two at home, will split with the Dodgers in that sense. And honestly, they'll finish the year above 500 against the Dodgers, which is crazy to think about. But the Cubs have played really well over this past month against a really brutal stretch of the schedule. We got 2 more with the Dodgers starting tonight. Game 1 at 6:40 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you guys set your clocks, get your dinner ready, etc., etc. Yesterday, I was lost. I didn't know what to do without Cubs baseball. But I know we're back today, and I'm beyond excited for it. So, the Cubs did make a move yesterday. They acquired left-hander Drew Pomeranz from the Mariners. He was in AAA, but the Cubs traded for him, and then they sent Jordan Wicks down to AAA because obviously Jordan Wicks has not had the best return to the big leagues yet. I think they still feel like he needs to work on a few things. One thing that I do have a question about is the psychology, right, of a major league pitcher. So mostly, let's just say it, ladies and gentlemen, most of these guys in their lifetime, they were starters, right? High school, they were dominant starters. College, they were probably dominant starters because that's just how good they are, right? They're major league pitchers for a reason. Then, eventually, relievers sometimes turn into quote-unquote failed starters. But there are guys, who are relievers the whole time because they're very specialty and very niche in the sense that they throw 105 miles an hour or something like that. But Jordan Wicks traditionally has been a starter for this Cubs team, okay? So I'm wondering if he's just, not adjusting to the bullpen role as well or what the deal is. But he struggled immensely in his brief time up. The Cubs sent him down to AAA, and they're bringing Drew Pomeranz up for the game this evening. Drew Pomeranz wasn't anything overwhelming in AAA. I just think he didn't have a roster spot in Seattle. So, the Cubs made this little trade, and they got him. The final details are still yet to be released. Once those do come through, I will let you guys know. It's going to probably be something very small, cash considerations. I'm sure the Mariners were kind of looking to get Drew Pomeranz's money off the books. So maybe it's like a free flyer for the Cubs on bullpen help as they continue to search for someone to be effective enough to help this team win. So, Drew Pomeranz on the Cubs. I don't know if you're going to expect to see him tonight, but he'll be pitching here for this team as long as he, doesn't completely struggle immensely, right? That is the real thing here. Again, going to continue to look out for other little moves that the Cubs make. They're going to make all these little free bullpen acquisitions just to try and help this bullpen as much as possible because, unfortunately, it's the one glaring hole on the team. The bullpen struggles immensely. I'm not going to say all the time. I think the bullpen did a fantastic job on Sunday and Saturday, but obviously on Friday, it did not do well. So there's a lot of losses the Cubs have. You're just like, if we had this one situation fixed, we would be okay. So, but on to some more positive news. I don't know if anyone's seen this, but the Cubs have the best chance to win the World Series according to Baseball Reference. This tweet was put out by Marquee Sports Network, and it says Baseball Reference gives the Cubs the best chance to win the World Series, which is just wild to think about. I mean, by no means do I think the Cubs are the best team in baseball. Look, it gives the Dodgers a 3.1% chance. What does that mean? The Dodgers? I know the Dodgers are fighting. The Brewers have a better chance than the Dodgers. I mean, I'm not going to argue with Baseball Reference because Baseball Reference is one of my favorite sites, and I go to it for a lot of information. So, Baseball Reference knows what it's doing. But I think Baseball Reference really just likes the balance that this Cubs team brings, right? I mean, they don't overwhelm you with power. They're not home run dependent. Can they hit the home run? Yes, absolutely. But they're about good quality at bats, hitting baseballs hard to where players aren't. That's what makes Nico Hoerner such a great player, right? Like, his numbers, you're never going to see him and be like, wow, Nico Hoerner, he's going to be an all-star. But you're never going to see, 25 home runs and 100 RBIs. Nico's going to drive in 60 to 75 runs, though, because he's a smart baseball player. He's also going to score close to 100 runs because he always gets in scoring position, because he's always hustling, and then he's going to bring that Gold Glove defense on the side. I think this Cubs defense is elite. It's top 3. Up the middle, especially with Dansby and Nico, and then the whole outfield is gold. I know Pete Crow doesn't have his Gold Glove yet, but I think, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that that's just going to be inevitable. He's going to get multiple Gold Gloves because he's just that good of a player. Extend Kyle Tucker yesterday, as some people that I know say it. He's a Gold Glover. Ian Happ, obviously consistent as it gets. And the Cubs catching core is doing an absolutely fabulous job behind the plate. Michael Busch is developing into a solid defender as well. So I think the defense, combined with that starting pitching, gives this team a real good chance to succeed every single day on the field. And honestly, that's really all you can ask for as a baseball team. Not a lot of teams have that. And then obviously the offense has the capability of dropping at least 5 or 6 runs on a daily basis as well. So this Cubs team is special. I want to see a World Series, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to sit here and predict it. But if the Cubs are going into October and they're playing their best ball, that World Series is very, very possible. I will absolutely agree with Baseball Reference on that front. So let's talk about Cade Horton's dominance, okay? And how close to a call-up is he? And this kind of pairs in with that World Series, right? I think if Cade Horton was to be called up, not today, not tomorrow, maybe in a month or 2 from now, and he kind of gave that bullpen or starting pitching staff the boost, like the over-the-top boost, this might be the reason the Cubs actually do win the World Series. Because Cade Horton has been absolutely filthy, ladies and gentlemen, over these past few games for the Chicago Cubs. He's been absolutely dealing in his last few starts. He's only allowed 5 hits in 12 and a third inning. He's got 18 strikeouts in 12 and a third inning. And a 1.46 ERA in that same amount of time as well. He's been absolutely filthy. I think the Cubs are just waiting for that moment to say, hey, bring him up. We need a boost. I don't know if they're going to bring him out of the pen. I don't know if they're going to want him to start. If Ben Brown continues to struggle, again, Ben Brown has had really good starts too. Maybe Ben Brown is the arm in the bullpen the Cubs need. So, I'm not sure what the next plan is for these next few days, but here's the deal. 5 more games left on the gauntlet, ladies and gentlemen. 5 more games left on the gauntlet. We got 2 with the Dodgers, 3 with the Phillies, and we can get out of here. I'm not going to say unscathed, but sitting really pretty going into May, where the schedule does lighten up and the Cubs have a few chances to get some good wins in that front. So that's going to do it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Again, like, subscribe, comment down below your thoughts on the Drew Pomeranz trade. And I will be back tomorrow with a breakdown of the game tonight and a preview for the finale. I'll see you guys soon.